Good evening, all. This is Veteran Crypto with Bullshit and Bourbon. Gonna decided to do a live stream tonight. We're about a month away, almost exactly a month away from the U.S. elections, and I feel like that there's a lot on the line. I mean, there always is, but sorry, one second. So, yeah, I want to just touch on a couple things, and the kind of the topic for tonight is going to be blockchain technology and the possibility of using it to secure our elections. Anybody that pays attention knows that back in 2020, there was, no matter what your political leanings, I'll try to keep this. I'm definitely, you know, right of center, but I'm trying to keep this a little even keeled. But no matter what your political views, you should want a free and fair election that you have confidence in the results, no matter if your guy or girl wins or not. You should definitely want to make sure that the elections are secure. So there's been a lot of discussion about using blockchain technology to do that. And the reason being is that it is secure, it's transparent. Everyone would have a copy of the election results and be able to run an audit on it. So you wouldn't have to rely on third parties and things like that to and if somebody was stuffing ballot boxes and all those shenanigans that we were worried about. So I have a video towards the end that kind of explains what I'm talking about, and a lot better than I can. But we'll go ahead and jump right on into it. So up on the screen, I want to start really quick with the current markets. So obviously with my name, Veteran Crypto, I'm into investing in blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies, and I blocked out, the amounts that I have and stuff. I really don't care if people know, but for the most part, I figured it's a smart thing to do. But this is my portfolio, and this is kind of let me refresh it real quick. This is what's going on with the markets today, and we'll go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin and everything here real quick. But things are looking really good. Casper is one of the ones that I have a very large stake in, and it is very much down right now. But the past couple days, it's really been waking up. Aerodrome, this thing is. I started out with a very small amount and watched it grow so quickly that I kept investing in it. And now, as you can see, it's my largest bag. They're working with excuse me, they're working with they're on base and working as far as a dex. They're going to be offering wrapped BTC and a bunch of other things for BlackRock and other large organizations that are uh, custodying their Bitcoin with Coinbase, and so see big things for Aerodrome. Um, Drew over at Blockchain Basement was the first person I heard it from, and so it got me to as I always do my due diligence and did some deep dives and deep digging into it and knew what old assets. Flare is an oracle, and it one of the big things that drew me to it was that it adds smart contracts to blockchain projects or protocols that don't natively have smart contracts. So that's what initially drew me into it. And then, of course, there's the staking. So if you hold it on Uphold, you earn 3.3% roughly per month, which compounds. So I've had this thing for the past like 2 years or more since it launched, and been earning quite a bit off of it, and just letting it compound. Waiting for the bull market. So this is one that I'm very excited about. I'm really big on ones that earn. It's kind of DeFi, and earning is the way that I see personally, once I make, whatever money I do make off of my investments this bull run, and I start pulling profits, I fully intend to start putting them into DeFi. Um, Reason being is inflation, and we'll actually get to it here in a minute. Um, but roughly, we're looking at about 7% per year. So if you have money in the bank, you're not earning anything. You're losing 7% of its purchasing power every year. I'm looking to mitigate that as much as possible and try to outpace that, so that I can increase my quality of life. I'm retired, financially secure, all of those things, but always looking for ways to, constantly improve my situation and, grow my net worth. Constellation DAG, I'm sure that anybody that's listening to me is probably, heard on Blockchain Basement and Drew talk about this, and a lot of other people. Kelly Kellum is another, good guy to listen to when it comes to DAG. There's a lot of really good TA, but they're doing some really good things with, and it's a little bit different than other protocols. But they're working with a lot of Department of Defense, U.S. Department of Defense, as far as securing data. But I just wanted to touch on a couple of these. Obviously they're my bags. I'm definitely not telling anybody to go out and buy these projects. Definitely do your own research. This is just what I've bought and a little bit about, why I bought them. So we'll move on from that. So what I want to start with is something that is affecting a lot of Americans right now, which is the hurricanes. There's to it other than the obvious with, people hurting financially. They've, lost everything that they own. People have died, all of the obvious things. But here, let me go ahead and just play this for you. So this is Ron DeSantis. If you don't know, he's the governor of Florida, and he was a or a Republican presidential nominee. Ran against Trump. Really good guy. Really, he was in the Navy intelligence, served his country honorably. But we'll go ahead and jump to it. Let you guys see what he has to say.
The Florida National Guard and Florida State Guard will be deployed to critical ports affected to maintain order and, if possible, resume operations, which would otherwise be shut down during this interruption. Florida Department of Transportation is coordinating calls with seaport rail and trucking partners to ensure that all are prepared and positioned appropriately to limit disruptions to the supply chain and other areas should this continue. I'm also directing Florida Department of Transportation to temporarily waive the collection of tolls and other fees for commercial vehicles using public highways in Florida and waiving the size and weight restrictions normally governing vehicle transportation for the duration of this emergency. This will help expedite the movement of goods that have been impacted from seaports to intermodal logistics centers, distribution centers, and delivery points, and very well may help offset additional costs incurred by operation during this period. Finally, I'm directing the Florida Highway Patrol to manage the flow of traffic from all Florida seaports and adjacent roads and highways as needed to further expedite the flow of goods that are currently being held up. This will include the provision of law enforcement escorts for commercial motor vehicles by FHP officers upon request. And I would say that this is something that would have significant impacts on the nation's economy anyways, but to have this happen in a way that could negatively impact people that are reeling from a Category 4 hurricane, that is just simply unacceptable. So it really is incumbent upon the Biden-Harris administration to do everything in their power to ensure that these goods are where we need to be, that people are not left hanging out in the cold waiting for these goods. If they're sitting in the ocean somewhere and they're not being able to be used here in the state of Florida or in Georgia or North Carolina or where people are going to desperately need this.
All right. So I think you get the point on that one. Oh, sorry about that. Thought I lost my Starlink. Um, yeah, one of the things living out in the middle of nowhere. It's I'm on Starlink and I have a lot of trees around my place. So every every once in a while, I freeze up and stuff. So anyway, moving right along. This is a native patriot. He's a really good dude. We had him on Black Site on a blockchain basement. Me and Drew. He's up here in the Pacific Northwest, and very much loves America, loves his country, and just hard working dude. Has his family, but he's drummed up quite a following. Because of his views and just his even keeled take on things. But he posted this earlier, and I want to play it real quick. I feel it's important that we there we go, that we remember, with all the politics that get slung around and things like that, that we remember that there's people behind this. There's a lot of people right now that are talking, trying to say, well, Harris and Biden aren't doing this, and Trump is going to do this, and everything's partisan these days. But I feel it's important that people understand that there's real humans, there's real people that are dealing with this.
Freedom slipped right through our hands. Lady Justice weeps for lands. Dreams we built now turn to sand. Hope is hard to understand. What lost our way. Promises we held so dear vanish now, replaced by fear. Voices calling, can't you hear? Falling fast, the end is near. What happened to the open sky? America's dream turned to a lie. Stars that shone now fade away. In the night we lost our way. Once we soared on a wing so high. Now we're left to wonder why. Liberty's tears won't dry as the echoes softly die. Shattered dreams and broken light, days that fade into the night. Once a beacon shining bright, now a dark and silent sight.
All right, I think that's enough. I wanted you to get an idea of the scope of the damage on the ground right now, in the southeast, because it has a far-ranging impact. Again, aside from the people, the deaths, the destruction of people's homes and property, key infrastructure, those sorts of things. The timing of this is very key, and I want to start touching on some of that because I know it's something that me and Drew have talked about on Black Site, and it's basically that a lot of things seem to happen right before elections. Last time we had 8 months of burning and looting, a lot of things that distracted from from the elections and from some of the questionable things that happened during the elections. So I'll share this now. So this is going on right now in down in the affected area, North Carolina. So, Elon Musk, as he seems to always do, whenever there is emergencies, he is really big on donating Starlink systems, um, because they don't rely on, key infrastructure. You don't need to worry about the power grid. You don't need to worry about, Cat 5 cables and, T1 cables and fiber optic lines and, all those things that get taken out by ground-based, events, war, Ukraine, things like being satellite based, like I said, me out here, even before I got hooked to the grid, I had Starlink because I had a propane generator. Was working on, didn't have it yet, but hydroelectric, and with that, I had high speed internet connectivity, which is key in any kind of emergency. Oh, hey, what up? What up, Ducey? I'm glad you and KJM could make it. If you guys want to contribute anything, please, go ahead and chime up. I'm, more than happy to answer any questions, and definitely want you a part of this conversation. But it's comms is one of the most important things in combat operations, in rescue operations, in any kind of emergency. Communication is key. It's one of the things I'm always preaching about when I talk about 72-hour kits is having an emergency radio so that you can get information. Having shortwave, handheld or a larger system so that you can communicate, with family, friends, anyone outside. It allows to coordinate efforts more efficiently, and it allows to maximize resources, and movement of resources. So what's going on right now on the ground is I have not personally confirmed this, but I have been seeing it quite a bit, is that Elon Musk it had to place a SpaceX engineer in the area because FEMA is obstructing shipments of supplies, including the Starlink systems. I'm sure a bunch of you have seen the that the FAA was threatening private citizens that were flying their personal helicopters and stuff like that into the affected areas, even though, and I am very familiar, I was a drone pilot in the military, ran a drone platoon, and so I'm very familiar with airspace. There was not a TFR, which is a temporary flight restriction that the FAA puts over wildfires, natural disaster areas to block off that airspace to allow, rescue, search and rescue, those sorts of things, and efforts to be conducted, and deconflict that airspace so aircraft don't collide. There was nothing in place. This was very early, and helicopter pilots were flying in to rescue people that were on rooftops and in trees and things like that. And they were being told that they had to ground themselves or they'd be arrested. Um, it's insane. But I'll play this real quick.
It's the sound of solace. Help is on the way.
We just kind of organized a private helicopter army to go in and survey the damage and get extract people and take supplies in, and just create landing zones for everybody to have supply routes in and out.
Matt McSwain is a pilot from Mount Holly and says he received a call from Operation Airdrop, an organization now working to shore up relief and rescue efforts for folks trapped in North Carolina's high country.
We've had 37 helicopters today, volunteers. We've had people from Texas to Maine, all the way across the East Coast, just show up and like, how do we help?
For folks who remember Katrina, there's like the Cajun Navy.
Right.
I feel very much like this is Cajun Navy.
Yep, this is Redneck Navy.
It's the sound of solace.
All right. So, some of you might have heard that, Nick talk about, a couple times on Blockchain Basement, he was talking about, he put in an application to join I don't know about join, but volunteer to help the Cajun Navy. They are a group that helped during Katrina, use boats and things like that to, help get supplies, move supplies, rescue people, those sorts of things. So, again, very worthwhile cause. Close some of these. So the reason I bring a lot of that up is I try to be very logical and unemotional. I'm very big on stoicism, and because I personally believe that emotion clouds judgment. I've been in a lot of situations, high stress situations in my military career, and I've seen the effects that emotion have, on people. And so because of that, I try to follow logic and facts over emotions, politics, and why I tend to lean more right, because most of what I hear on the left is very emotionally driven propaganda to try to invoke emotions to control people. I mean, that's control, basically, psyops 101 is using emotion. You use people's loved ones against them, in questioning to try to get them to give up information. Anytime you can invoke an emotion in somebody, it overrides the logic centers in the brain. So I want to share this real quick. Let's go back over here. Yeah, no, that's 100% KJM is, Americans want to help other Americans. It doesn't matter your politics. We want to help each other. It's in our nature. But the fact that the government is stopping those efforts is what is very concerning. And that's what I'm about to get into right here. Oh, awesome. No, it's good that we're seeing some people join. I'm hoping that, more people watch this after the fact. But I will now share this. So this is something I was thinking about when I first heard about this, and I'm not saying that Biden and Harris and all that caused the hurricane for this to happen, but I am saying that this is something that I thought about, where because of the destruction, a lot of these areas that are affected are very red. They're very right leaning, and potentially, I'm not saying it's what's happening, but potentially that by delaying rescue efforts and recovery efforts in these areas for the next 30 days could swing the election greatly in the favor of Democrats, because cities are going to recover a lot quicker from this, and historically urban areas are much bluer than their rural areas that just want to be left alone, which tend to be more red. So, this is something that definitely came to mind, and something that ties into the whole Starlink thing with connectivity. If these rural areas have connectivity and they're not getting the resources they need because the U.S. government has been sending hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine and Israel and a lot of these other places. And, FEMA is hurting for money. They had to sign, Biden had to sign another emergency bill to get funding to FEMA to help out hurricane relief. And as part of that, they attached even more funding to send to Ukraine. I don't know if anybody caught that. It's, kind of that shell game that the government, plays is, if the Republicans would have voted against, the additional funding for FEMA, they would have said, look, Republicans hate Americans because they didn't vote for it. They wouldn't have mentioned there was a bunch. So anyway, I digress. So yeah, they very much could influence the election with this. Much like this summer of love in 2020, affected the elections. Thank you, Ducey. Yes, please. If you could, anyone that's watching, if you can, like, share this, help me get the word out. By far, I'm just an old vet living in the woods. I spend my days working on my property, investing in crypto, learning about mycology and just anything I can get my hands on. Study stoicism, watch the government, the stereotypical old veteran in the woods, stuff. So yeah, if you could, like and share this, help me get the message out. Great, greatly appreciate anything that you guys can do to help out. So I'll close this one out. This is something that I notice quite a bit online, and it's not just the left; it's the right too. But this is something that bothers me quite a bit, and why I joke about anybody that's not familiar. There's an old movie called Starship Troopers, and it's based on a book that I haven't read, but they part of it. The book gets much deeper into it. Part of it, to become a full citizen, you have to serve. Not just the military. You have to serve your community or your country in some way before you have full rights. To vote and say how the country's run and who runs it. Those sorts of things. But here, I'll play this real quick because there's no shortage of these videos out there.
Idaho for Kamala.
Idaho for Kamala. Lotus for POTUS.
And she's so good, right? She's amazing. She did great. What's your favorite campaign policy?
So many. I'm really into breaking the grip of the monopolies and stuff. And getting power back to the people, to the consumers.
Is that I don't remember that one being one of her campaign policies.
It's already being implemented under Biden, and I think she's simply continuing that.
That is not correct.
Oh yeah, no, blockchain report. Thanks for coming. And yeah, I enjoy our back and forth, on X. Yeah, no, I honestly, I won't pretend like I know a lot about weather modification. I have heard about it. I know about, forget what it's called up in Alaska. There's an array up there that there's, a lot of conspiracy theories. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, because most conspiracy theories end up being true. But there's some conspiracy theories that it's used to, hey, what's up, C90? Thanks for showing up, brother. That they use it to modify the weather, and some say even earthquakes and, things like that. So, focused energy weapons, there was some talk during Maui about, with the blue roofs and stuff like that, with, a focused energy weapon that, may have started the fires, so yeah, HARP, that's it. Thank you. So yeah, there is cloud seeding, what is it? Nitric oxide, liquid or silver nitrite, something like that, that they, fly through clouds and, to help it rain and stuff like that. So I know on, very small levels, yes, there is weather modification, and there very well could be at a greater level. So, yeah, no, I appreciate all you guys, chiming in. I like having back and forth discussions. I don't do very well just talking to myself, but I do that. I do that all day. I don't need to go online for that. Let's see. So this is something that I found kind of interesting. That here I'll just play it. I won't give a whole lot of narration on it. I'll talk about it after. So here, actually, what I'll do is I'll say. So supposedly, there's been threats on Kamala Harris's life. Um, so they, raised her Secret Service security, gave her more security, and all this. And this just has this really weird feel that everything that Trump does is it's almost copied. Um, when Trump was talking about no tips for waitresses, she came out with it. Trump has had 2 assassination attempts on his life, and now, there's no, extreme right that is actually, going out and doing it, which, they shouldn't. No one should have attempts on their life. Um, but they don't have that to use, so they have to like come up with this story that she got some threats, which they all get threats all the freaking time. There is not a single president, vice president, celebrity, anybody that hasn't gotten at some point a threat on their life. Now, a credible threat, can be debated, but I just found it hilarious, and just it's something that I just had to share. But actually, with the fire, Jam, when the fire in Hawaii started, I wish I knew. Wish I knew how to. Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah, there we go. I can actually pin those up there. Let me see if I can figure out how to unpin. There we go. No, cool. All right. See, I'm learning new things. I hear that. Now I'm starting to do these live streams. So yeah, no, there definitely was that Chinese satellite that passed over Hawaii. Over the during the time of the Hawaii fires. But let's dive into a little bit of a different topic. I promise we're going to get to the blockchain and using it for voting. I'm kind of trying to lead up into that. I'm setting the stage. So next, I want to delve into some of the policies and the what I feel are skewed inflation numbers, because this ties into crypto, and like I was talking about at the beginning of the stream about why I got into crypto, being retired, things like that. I wonder about if I'm going to have, let me get this out of the way a little bit. If I'm going to have adequate reserves to continue the lifestyle that I want to live through my retirement. I mean, I'm only 50. I hopefully got it at least another 30 or 40 years before I kick the bucket. But there's we're told certain inflation numbers, but to be honest, and this is a fact, they have changed how they measure inflation. They say that it's down to, like 3%, 3 point something percent. It's on the decline and all this. But if you measure it the same way that it was measured in the 80s, we are currently, what's this saying? We are currently around 17, 18% inflation right now. And I'll share it just so you're not, taking my word for it. Because this does have where, there we go. So, you can go yourself. I mean, this was posted back in June 2022. So this has even been a while. So, God only knows what it is now. I actually dug for quite a while on this to try to find updated stats and couldn't find it. It's been, scraped from anywhere I could find it. But you can go and check this out yourself. At in 2002, inflation was at 18%. And, of course, they did all the things that they, did to, say that they were combating inflation. but they have changed how they measure it. 2 plus 2 equals 4. You can't say that, change one of the twos to a 3 and still say 2 plus 2 equals 4. It's just not the way, it works. There has to be a consistent ruler or measure to have a consistent result, or a trackable result. It's like in science. Whenever you have better measuring tools and you get more accurate data, you have to reassess, your thesis or your stance on something, because it changes the data. With different data, you potentially could have a different result. All right, let me see what some of you guys are saying. What? It was a bag of gummy? What? Some volleyball knee pads. I heard you had a history of eating dick. I heard that same. Um, some reason you were filtered to all chat and not top chat for me, anti-Canadian alphabet company for sure. All right, all right. We're gonna move on. Yeah, as Nick would say, eat a whole dick. All right. So let's close that out. There's a guy that honestly I wish Trump would have picked as his VP. And those of you that aren't familiar, Byron Donalds, dude is a fucking goat. The dude is a badass. Here, I'll play this real quick and I'll talk a little bit about him. But he's a Florida representative, and the guy looks like he had to have played football. Well, here, let me pull it up instead of telling you about it. So this is the dude right here. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, the dude looks like a freaking lineman, but super fucking smart, and goes on to MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, and all these, and just decimates, a lot of the liberal pundits and things like that. But here, I'll play this real quick for you.
Is our members in
Well,
your
I would
state,
argue we're not.
blackness in your
I would
state
argue we're not
thriving?
really thriving right now. This inflation, which by the way was brought to us by Kamala Harris, has really slowed down people from being able to excel.
By Kamala?
Yes.
The vice president.
Oh, Charlemagne.
It's still the president.
Charlemagne, listen, man. When Joe Biden wanted to do his American Rescue Plan, Kamala Harris was the tie-breaking vote in the United States Senate. She broke the tie that started this inflation that has hurt so many people in our country. Everybody listening to you. Inflation
Reduction Act. Look it up. She was, just like he's saying, was the tie-breaking vote that made it. Did this dollars from the Inflation Reduction Act, and I won't get on a rabbit trail on this because you can go look up the video and watch it on Black Site. Is the Inflation Reduction Act, hundreds of millions went to organizations that are currently run by ex-Weather Underground individuals. And if you're not familiar, back in the 60s and 70s, they were a terrorist group, a far-left terrorist group that were responsible for bombings and bank robberies and things like that, anti-government stuff, that are currently running organizations. And those funds were funneled during the Summer of Love to BLM and pro-Antifa groups to fund those operations. So anyway, I won't get down that rabbit trail, but go ahead and go look that up. I digress.
Your show. It's not true?
First of all, it's the
you sure you want to go there?
Tie-breaking vote.
You sure you want to go there?
Go outside, Congressman, when you go
You
outside.
sure you want to go there?
district,
Okay, let's go there.
You hit it.
You got
What I-
notes.
what I-
You got
what I
notes,
actually-
Angela, right?
That's fine. I have notes.
I'm
too,
gonna give
and
it. I'm gonna
the
give it to
biggest note I
Charlemagne.
have
I'm gonna
today
give it to
is
Charlemagne.
that on
I don't
every
even want to hold
question
it
I've asked,
because
answer.
Angela,
for
hold on now.
every
Go ahead.
for every infrastructure project in your community,
You can go to
should
third
go
page,
out
just the
and
highlighted
thank
portion.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the Congress that voted for the American Rescue Plan.
Angela,
That's what should be happening.
Larry Summers wrote an op-ed back in 2021. Larry Summers was the Treasury Secretary for Bill Clinton. He was an economic advisor to Barack Obama. He said that the American Rescue Plan that Joe Biden wanted, that Kamala Harris was the tie-breaking vote in the United States Senate, would create a massive inflation that we have not seen in a generation. Well, guess what? Larry Summers was correct. You know who also was correct, Angela? I was, because I was in the budget committee when they brought the bill. And I said in that committee, it's going to cause massive inflation. That's what happened. So the problem we have in our economy today is prices have gone up massively. Wages adjusted for inflation is down. People's pocketbooks are hurting. But we have a presidential election in 40 days. So, and I'm gonna ask Envy this question. Envy, you're in the housing business as well. I know because I watch,
figure out how
I listen
Envy's
to the
being
show.
interviewed.
No, I'm just asking them a question. Chill, Angela. So I listen to the show. I know you do a lot of business in housing. Would you hire somebody that broke up stuff in one of your houses to fix the other houses?
No.
Exactly. She broke the economy.
I'm
That's
not
not-
going to
that's
do
not
this
me.
this morning, Byron.
Why
So
are you not
now
gonna
you
do
told
this,
me to
Angela?
chill.
Because
I'm
I'm
going
bringing
to tell you
facts
to
and
chill
now,
and
hold on
actually
now.
try to
So
take a
now
deep
I'm
breath
bringing facts and
answer
you
a
don't want to do it
question.
no more? Come on now, Angela. That's not right. I'm bringing facts.
So
And I
back
thought we were
to
going to
the
have a
point, 'cause you wanted
fact-based
to bring up
conversation.
This is the left, and this is what drives me further and further right. Is if you cannot have a logical, unemotional conversation or debate on a topic without wanting to censor or silence the opposition, then your argument is weak. It's baseless. It's without fact. It's without logic. It's there's no substance. And throughout history, the people that try to silence their opposition are never the good guys. Never. Not fucking once. Not fucking never. It's just it's that, and that is a fact. So anyway, there's that. Here's another really good one that I want to share with Donald's. Let me pull that up real quick. We'll give you the big view. Give you the jumbo.
Net shift, you think?
I think so. I think you're seeing several things. I think one, people are comparing the two economies, the Trump economy versus the Biden-Harris economy. They know that the Trump economy was significantly better. They're looking at crime, understanding that not only was it better under Donald Trump, but now you have municipalities and states that aren't even reporting their crime data to the FBI, something that had to be found out and brought out. They're looking at border security issues, but then they also are looking at the mantle of leadership. We have seen the world under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, where you have people who are supposed to be in charge, but you never see them. They are not actually taking the mantle that a president / vice president has to lead the country and the world. All of that is gone. But you have what's happening in the Middle East right now, but also this ongoing conflict in Ukraine with no end in sight.
Right.
And what the Democrats will say, especially Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, is we're going to do more investment. We're going to provide more resources,
Right.
but nothing ever changes. And I think men, especially young men, are seeing this and they're rejecting it. And they've lived under two presidential administrations. And so they've essentially taken the Pepsi Taste Challenge on this.
Yes.
Oh, that's
And they're saying Donald Trump was better.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
I think that's good for that. But yes, you are right. Oh, hey, blockchain basement is is an RWA. Yes, they do. They resort to name calling. It's actually a very weak debate tactic. That is, whenever I went to college, I didn't go to college until after I retired from the military. Like I said, I'm always looking for new ways to become more knowledgeable and more intelligent and more well-rounded. But part of it was in English classes was learning different types of debate, the ethos and things like that. And one of those is to try to discredit your who it is that you're debating. And it's a very weak tactic. It's usually a last resort when somebody lacks the any facts, any logic, anything of substance to offer to prove their point. They usually resort to, like you said, name calling, trying to distract from the fact, get people emotional, get them laughing, whatever it is that they need to do to distract from the fact that they have nothing. So anyway, we'll cancel that one out. We're getting towards the end, I promise. All right. So Woody Harrelson is a guy from Hollywood that I've always loved, and I've been it's been really refreshing to see, a couple of people in Hollywood. Joe Rogan, was one of them, that were center or actually left of center, and due to current events over the past couple years, are now considered far right. Much like RFK, much like Tulsi Gabbard, much like Elon Musk. They were all Democrats. They were all on the left, and because they didn't weren't in lockstep 100% with that whole dogma, uh, they've been cast out, and they've been thrown in the far right bucket, which they're anything but. So here, I'll share this real quick because it goes into what.
So the movie goes like this. The biggest drug cartels in the world get together and buy up all the media and all the politicians and force all the people in the world to stay locked in their homes. And people can only come out if they take the cartel's drugs and keep taking them over and over.
Look at the
I
people
threw
in
the
the
script
background.
away. I mean, who is going to believe that crazy idea?
They're so
So the movie goes like this.
All right. So yeah, it's just, and then this is what happened like almost immediately after Woody Harrelson did that on Saturday Night Live.
Woody Harrelson on
Yes.
SNL.
Yeah.
Did you see that
Another Buckeye.
immediately after Woody Harrelson had that monologue on SNL where he's joking around about a drug company forcing you to take their drug? Right after it, the next day, there's all these hit pieces, like they were timed. Like there's a hit piece in Vox, there's a hit piece in Vanity Fair, there's a hit piece calling him an anti-vaxxer and a stoner.
He sucked on Cheers.
And there's conspiracy theories. He's pushing conspiracy theories. No. No, that's not what he's doing. He's a joke monologue on SNL about something that makes people laugh because you can kind of make a weird comparison to those two. That's the only reason why the joke works.
Yeah.
The only reason why it works is because people are thinking it. Like, so for you guys to come out and say like, oh, conspiracy theories, no, it's jokes about a possible conspiracy theory.
So yeah, no, it's, and hell, C90, you you might be right. I've actually heard some really good things about mushrooms from some of my military vet buddies. I won't get on a rabbit trail, but yeah, mushrooms and psychedelics. There's actually some really good research going on right now for like PTSD and a lot of areas of the brain that mushrooms, psilocybin specifically, centers of the brain that it stimulates, and yeah, it's Joe Rogan talks about it a lot on a lot of his podcasts. I know that he's done ayahuasca, DMT, mushrooms, things like that, and yeah, a bunch of my buddies that were on talking about pharmaceuticals and stuff like that. The VA, giving them those freaking handful of pills to turn them into zombies, every fucking day, and just destroying their lives. I mean, their wives would leave them. Kids wanted nothing to do with them. They were just numb to everything. They were depressed all the time. And that's what some of the pills were supposed to be for. There's a couple of them, quite a few actually, that I know that took mushrooms and microdose on a semi-regular basis and take no pills, and it has changed their life. Yeah. No, the FDA is trying to pass psilocybin for a treatment. Yes, they are. Thank you, K-Jam. But so yeah, moving right along. We'll go into this one. I'm on a little Woody Harrelson kick right
But
now.
of buying junk fast foods that have no actual food in them. We buy gallons of poisonous household cleaners when one degradable soft soap will do. We are poisoning our homes and wasting our hard-earned money for no good reason. Why? Because the advertising industry tells us to. They just want you to buy stuff. For example, if a company pollutes the environment or uses bad business century. If we use our resources wisely, there's no reason why anyone shouldn't have what they need. There's no reason whatsoever why people are still starving to death on our planet. And the common man or woman, whether they are Israeli or Palestinian, Protestant or Catholic or Iraqi or American, the common man just wants to live in peace and justice in a clean environment. When we look around the world and we see that that is not the case, we know that the will of the majority is not being listened to. That's the first sign that our system is broken. Government won't make these changes for us. Yet again, it is down to the common man. No company will continue a practice or a product that you, the consumer, will not buy. It's vitally important that you understand this because this gives you ultimate power to change the world you live in. Companies are extremely sensitive about you buying their products because if you don't buy their stuff, they go out of business. That's not something any company is willing to consider. And by choosing to spend your money wisely, the habit of buying junk.
And that is what I'm going to use to segue into the blockchain for voting, because if we don't have secure elections that we can have confidence in, the only power we have is spending power and the power of the dollar. And before I get into the next clip, I want to address the chat. So as we were watching that, I saw your comment. Blockchain basement is an RWA, and as a veteran, I want to say thank you to you, for your service. I know it's something that we all hate to hear, but it kind of makes us uncomfortable. But I hear you, and there's certain things, obviously, mushrooms and stuff like that aren't going to help with your, any physical disabilities that you got from your, service connected injuries, but they can get your head right. And I would highly encourage you to have an open mind about it if you haven't already. Just like Ducey, put in the chat is, it sounds like, he's, tried them and they changed his life. I have never once met somebody that has used mushrooms, psilocybin, and not come out of the experience a better person, in a better state of mind, more clear, more focused, and happier than they went in. So do with that as you will. I definitely am not going to, would never push anybody to do it, but the mind drives the body. And if you can get your head right, it has a long and lasting effect on your physical health. I know it did for me. I have all kinds of neck and back problems, knees, things like that. A lot of the stuff I did in the military, destroyed my vertebrae, jumping out of planes and getting blown up and, all that kind of stuff, TBI and all that. I didn't go to the VA. I didn't get, any disability. I want nothing to do with them. I saw all my friends getting, basically the same thing as when you're in service. You go to sick hall and they, the 1,000 milligram Motrin, go back to work. That's what I felt like the VA was, is, basically just feed you pills, go away. Just whatever they had to do to justify their funding. So, anyway, sorry, got on a rabbit trail there, but yes, brother, do what you need to do to take care of yourself. And if you ever need an ear, please, reach out in my DMs. I am always here for any veteran at any time. I don't care what their politics are. I don't care anything about them. I very much will always be there for my fellow veterans. So anyway, moving right along. Let's close that out. So this one, it's a little bit long. It's about 10 minutes, but it breaks down. And a lot of you in the chat will know this. This is more for people that maybe watch after and don't understand blockchain, things like that. But let's jump into it real quick.
Really changed. So what if we found a faster and easier way to vote? What if we voted
Oh, and I have to apologize. This is an AI. I mean, it's a really good AI that Coin Market Cap did, but they keep calling ballots. Hold on.
using blockchain? On today's CoinMarketCap episode, we explore the benefits and drawbacks of blockchain voting and examine some real-world trials of it. Make sure to check the timestamps down below to easily navigate this video. My name is Trev, and let's just get right into it. Could we use blockchain voting for national elections? Voting is considered a civic duty for people who live in democratic societies, and it's often referred to democracy. Each citizen would place a pebble in an urn that represented the person that they thought should lead. So how would a blockchain-based voting system work today? So far, there has not been a national election run entirely using a blockchain voting system. So we can only guess how it might work. Let's imagine that we are transported 18 years into the future to the presidential elections in the year 2040. The government has developed a blockchain-based voting system that allows all citizens to vote in any election, from local council votes all the way up to the national one, from an app that works on all smartphones. Your phone buzzes with an alert reminding you to vote in today's presidential elections, so you log into the app and request a digital bailout. The app then asks you for some identification to verify that you are eligible to vote, like a driver's license or passport, as well as a short video of yourself saying a random sequence of words to prove that you are who you say you are. Someone on the other end then checks your ID and video and certifies that you are exactly the same person you claim to be. Now that your identity is confirmed, your digital bailout arrives so that you can simply pick whichever candidate that you actually want to vote for, and your vote is then written into the blockchain. Later, you receive a receipt for your vote straight to your phone, which allows you to check that your decision was registered correctly onto the blockchain. And once everyone's vote is counted, the final count is available straight away, and the digital bailouts can be audited simultaneously by the relevant agencies and regulators. Obviously, this is a really simplified and purely hypothetical example, but it should give you an idea of what a blockchain voting system might look like. In theory, a blockchain-based voting system could work in exactly the same way for referendums, opinion polls, and national elections. Let's talk about some real-world use cases of blockchain voting. Numerous blockchain voting companies have emerged from the commercial sector in the past few years. In fact, according to data from PitchBook, $420 million has been invested in the 27 election tech startups since 2016. Let's take a look at 3 of them. Number 1 is votes. West Virginia, during the midterm elections in 2018, the state of West Virginia successfully recorded 144 votes from military personnel stationed overseas in 24 countries. The troops were able to cast their bailouts from their mobile phones using an app developed by a company called Votes. To vote using the app, each military personnel had to input their phone number, some kind of ID, and a selfie, which was compared with their ID, and a thumbprint. Once their ID was approved, they then received a secure token that allowed them to cast their vote. Votes received a lot of positive reactions from overseas voters once the voting had finished. When asked for feedback, the military voters said the registration and ID verification process was easy, and overall voting via a blockchain-based app had made the whole process much easier for them. One military voter said, "I've been living in Japan for 17 years, and I've missed a lot of stuff stateside. The system gives me an opportunity to engage again, and with so much ease." case. Thank you for your help. I just voted successfully. Once the election ended, the Secretary of the State of West Virginia, Andrew Warner, released a statement saying, "This is the first in the nation project that allowed uniformed service members and overseas citizens to use a mobile application to cast a bailout secured by a blockchain technology." Some hackers tried to disrupt the election, but officials said the attempt was not close to being successful. Since the West Virginia vote, a number of state legislators and conventions have used votes for other elections as well, including the Utah State GOP Convention, the Arizona GOP Convention, the South Dakota GOP Convention, and the Michigan Democratic Party Convention. But were those trials successful? And is there a chance that the next US presidential election will use a blockchain voting system? A trial with only 144 blockchain votes probably won't convince many governments to start rolling out such voting systems. However, given that no security breaches were found and the feedback from voters were consistently positive, it seems that blockchain voting isn't just a pipe dream. And that brings us to number 2, which is Agora, Sierra Leone. Agora, a company based in Switzerland, trialed its blockchain voting system during the Sierra Leone general elections back in 2018. Agora's team counted votes from 280 polling locations across western Sierra Leone and found that their votes were very close to the official results. Before we get into how Agora's system works, we should point out that was finished. Also, elections in Sierra Leone, credibility of the award of the blockchain voting technology in private elections such as the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame vote, or unsociable hours, or who have physical disabilities. Additionally, voting through an app is considerably simpler and faster than filling out postal votes for local, regional, and national elections. So blockchain voting systems would be beneficial to military personnel living overseas as well. And as we just mentioned in our hypothetical blockchain election, counting votes stored on a blockchain would take considerably less time than counting paper bailouts. In fact, live and auditable vote count would be available on election night, which would save us from a week of impatiently waiting for the news to find out who actually won. And number 2 is to dispel voter fraud myths. Election results are commonly dragged into disrepute by the losing party. The most recent of which, and obvious example, being the US presidential election of 2020. The losing side claims that bailout boxes were stuffed with fraudulent votes for the other guy, or that the votes for their candidate were destroyed by devious members of their opposition. But statistically, voter fraud is essentially a non-issue, at least in Europe and North America. A study by MIT put your bailout in a box or in the mail, and you just hope that someone else makes sure that it gets to where it's supposed to go. And if it doesn't, you'll never know. The votes stored on a blockchain, on the other hand, are checkable. And in fact, you can view them at any time and date of your vote, almost as soon as you have voted. Blockchain votes could also be auditable, so impartial organizations and regulators could check the legitimacy of any election without needing to count each vote, alongside the official vote counter. Number 3 is to increase public consultation. Blockchain voting systems could allow governments to quickly and easily gauge how the population feels about any issue, from local problems like filling in potholes to national questions about defense spending. In other words, blockchain could radically reform the way in which governments consult with their citizens and ensure that their citizens' voice is actually heard. And needless to say, this would be a huge improvement on the polling systems that we have in place today, which are complicated.
All right. I think that explains it close enough to where people that maybe aren't familiar with blockchain technology can understand. So to dissect what the video is about is the issues that we have with our current voting system is it's outdated. People go to a polling station in person, or they mail in their ballot. We trust that those ballots are going to be counted, that they're accurate, that each citizen that is legally allowed to vote gets one vote, and that the results are are accurate. And in a perfect world, yes. However, we don't live in a perfect world. So what blockchain technology do is allow anyone, anywhere that is legally allowed to vote in an election to vote. If you're a soldier overseas, if you're disabled and can't leave your house, whatever, you know, you can, you can't vote from beyond the grave, but and people can be added. As far as being eligible to vote, whenever somebody registers to vote, their one vote or ability to vote is added to the blockchain. Once somebody dies and a death certificate is generated, then they could immediately be taken off of the voting roster. So it would ensure that one you could see who was winning and it would be auditable. So after it's all said and done, anybody, anywhere, because the way the blockchain works and the way that the ledger is multiplied across all the different holders, you can audit and ensure that it is true and accurate. And it is, I see, the only way to restore confidence in our elections, because we I know I have no confidence. Where I live, the past two elections, my vote has not been counted. I have voted by mail and sent it in. The first time they told me my signature didn't match. So I went down, I did a new signature card, gave it to them, and it matched. And they said that my vote would be counted. You can go online and check if your vote's counted. So the day of, I went and checked, and my vote was still not counted. So I called in and said, "Hey, just checked online. My vote has still not been counted." And they said, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It will get counted." So day after the election, I go and check, was not counted. So I have uh, you know, zero confidence in our elections. If it could be debated, the scale. I mean, there's always voter fraud, left, right, Democrat, Republican. Since the first elections were ever, in clay pots with pebbles in, ancient times, there's always been election fraud. If you say there isn't, you are 100% a liar or just very, very ignorant. Um, you know, Back in the 1700s, 1800s, down in the South, armed people used to stand by the ballot boxes and tell people how to vote. It's been done throughout time. So to what scale, we don't know, and that's why we need blockchain voting, is so that we can be assured that it's not happening. What's up? What's up? There's a recent video on valuetainment about how electronic voting machines are easier. Oh yeah, no, they showed that the machines that were used during the last election were not secure. They were easily hacked. The software was compromised. All been proven. So yeah, there's it's ridiculous. So anyway, that's pretty much all I got. I wanted to just touch on the fact that we as Americans need to take back control of our country peacefully, of course. With our dollar, how we spend our money, and holding our elected officials accountable. They work for us. They currently pander to us during election time, and they serve those that keep them in power with donations and influence and those sorts of things. Oh, Ducey, you and your Cardano. I'm not saying that it's a bad project at all. I don't own any. I'm in too many already. I think I shared at the beginning before a lot of you guys showed up. Yeah, I'll show you guys again so you can have a good laugh. I'm not saying all my picks are good picks, but here they are. So yeah, go ahead and go ahead and laugh at me if you want. These are the ones that I've chosen to ride, but I'm kind of a degen. I want stuff with really high ROI. Like I said, being retired, I'm financially set. You know, I have no debt. My cabin I built myself. I got my retirement and my other investments. So yeah, I'm good. This is my DGen move, and I'm looking to just 10x. If I can overall my portfolio, if I can 10x it and earn 5 to 10%, I can easily make 10 to $20,000 a month. If I can earn 5 to 10%, APY. Either putting it a mixture of putting it on Coinbase, in USDC for the 5.6%, or putting it into a project to delegate, like Casper. Right now, I think I'm making like 14%, or something like that. Let me see. What is Casper making right now? 14.29%. So yeah, all through the bear market, I've been stacking Casper, and making, between 12 and 14, 15% APY, which compounds every 2 hours. So it's just been stacking and stacking and stacking and stacking. But Flare, again, at the beginning, I talked about it. I'm making like 3.3% per month, and that compounds monthly. So I've been stacking that since I got the XRP airdrop, and I've been, adding to it. I keep mine, well, I keep some on Uphold, which gives me the monthly airdrop as well. But that's my big play. Is like I said, if I can at least 10x my portfolio, I got some big plans. I've been talking to Johnny, down there in Central America, about maybe buying a little place there that I can Airbnb, and you know, uh, and then I've also thought about buying a trimaran. There's a Neil, if any of you are into boats, there's one called a Neil 47, and the thing is fucking gorgeous. Actually, here, I don't know if any of you are interested, but I'll pull it up real quick. I know Drew's always talking about tanks and stuff like that. This is my tank. this is this is my bug out. Is well, here, let me share this tab. So this is what I'm looking to get, is this beauty. So yeah, I want to, thing is just sick looking, but the inside of it, it has like 4 bedrooms, huge salon, big back area. I mean, fully self-contained. It has the desalinization, solar panels for your power. So basically, I can have my house go anywhere in the world. I can be in the Mediterranean, I can be in the Caribbean, I can be in Central America, I can be wherever, and just do the whole boats and hose thing. Because I'm a single dude. So so yeah, no, it's like I just want to travel around, have fun, eat good food. But anyway, that's my that's my freaking, if my bags hit, that's what I'm doing. What's that? I've been sucked into sailing videos before. I know, dude. It's fucking so easy. It's so easy. Just that lifestyle. Just being able to get up in the morning, have your coffee or tea, jump off the back, with a snorkel and a mask and a spear gun. Get a snapper, or something, lobster or something like that. Fresh fish. Just live off fresh fish, fresh fruits and vegetables. Just a healthy way to live, man. Oh, I'm not worried about pirates, man. Actually, one of the jobs that I did when I was in the military, I was at First Group up at Fort Lewis for a lot of years, and I worked at the scuba locker. And it's part of that, you learn, like, marine operations, and how to do different things, fight, on the water, things like that. But how the weaknesses on boats, it just, there's a lot of things that you can do. But if you know what you're doing, and trimarans are fast as hell. And so yeah, if as long as you stay away from, like, certain areas and certain coasts. or something, and always wear long sleeves. We'll cut this off. I appreciate all you guys showing up. Oh yeah, no, I always got plenty of lead and brass, and I'd have a couple of compartments with my all my toys in them that I could get to quickly. But I appreciate all you guys for showing up. Hope you guys have a good evening, and hope your bags are pumping. And we'll see all you guys another time this Sunday. We'll be I'll be jumping on usual time 8 p.m. for bullshit and bourbon. I'm gonna be doing Gentleman Jack, and I probably be doing the same cigar. I'm still waiting on my new cigars, so I'll be talking with the guys if any of you guys want to jump on. Again, any of you guys, C90, Ducey, K-Jam, any of you, if you ever want to jump on, I would love to have any of you on if you want to be a guest at some point. I can send you a link and you can join as long as you got a camera and a microphone. Uh, we'll make it happen. But thank you all, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.